Alright, welcome back. It's still Galaxy today, and you just watched clips from alleged police brutality in Edo State, Benin City, to be specific, where a man lost his life over alleged 100 naira payment or so to the police officer. Well, we just want you to know that this program is very interactive and you can be a part of it. Let's share your opinion, share your experiences that you may have had with policemen. You can do so by sending an SMS on the number that will be displayed right now on the screen. And of course, you can interact with us via our various social media platforms using the hashtag Galaxy Today. Okay, I think we should just start from Abuja before we get into Lagos. I hear that our crew is actually standing by. Okay, let us join Senator Bala Na'Allah. He is the Senate Deputy Minority Leader. Many thanks for joining us, Senator. We're looking at the case of police brutality and impunity in Nigeria. I really want to find out first what the Senate has really done in this aspect, because it's not really a new matter. Every day we hear stories of how Nigerians are actually molested or allegedly molested by the police. What have you really done so far in your plenary, in your discussions and debates?
Well, I think there is a resolve now by the entire country to accept the fact that the way to go is to go the civilized standard. And civilized standard means every person charged with statutory responsibility must be seen to be operating within the powers conferred upon him by law. And if he goes outside that, then he should be made to account for his deed. The complaints of police brutality is very much in the front burner for the Senate. Every day 1 or 2 complaints are being received. But I'm aware of the fact that what the Senate decided to do now is to look at the entire country and say, hey, we've come this bad. Let us try to see if we can reverse the situation. And let us have the commitment of every citizen of this country to help in reversing the situation so that Nigeria can be assisted to march towards the way of civilized standard.
Very much so. But I'd like us to look at it also from this angle, where a lot of people find it difficult to actually, let me say, people think that the police are no friend, as much as they say the police are your friends. There's this fear that they're supposed to be a security body, but then there's this fear that you'd rather go into your religious circle than go to the police. In a situation like that, where the image has been is dented, what do you think the Senate can do about that? By probably maybe walking back the image or doing something about the image of the police?
Well, it's going to be very difficult to do anything about the battered image of the Nigerian police by the Senate. Image has to do with the institution of the police itself, and they are the ones that possess the capacity to either build it or destroy it. And I think that I've had the privilege of at least participating in one program or the other of knowing, and I have the privilege of knowing what the rules and regulations are as it relates to police duties. As a matter of fact, at one stage of my life, I was a teacher in enforcement duties and what we refer to as police duties. Every action of a policeman is guided by rule and regulation. So when we see situations where officers and men of the Nigerian police acting outside the provision of those rules and regulations, then they know that the natural and probable consequence is that their image will definitely be lowered, because those rules and regulations are meant to ensure that the image of the police is kept intact. So it is the operation of the police outside those rules and regulations that tremendously affects their image in the eyes of Nigerians. But like I have said earlier, the decision of the Senate is that it's not only the Senate, but the entire Nigerian populace must come together and accept the fact that we have gone that bad and that there is the need for us to reinvent ourselves towards the march of putting Nigeria on the scale of civilized standard. And what that means is that it's not only the police, every person, elected or not elected, occupying office or not occupying office, must operate in accordance with the laws of this country. if we do this, then we can begin to raise our heads as citizens of a civilized nation called the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
You go, I just want us to also look at this angle where a whole lot of people think that they do not only do ill and get away with it. Does it mean that the police can't be sued? As a citizen, do I have the right to report the police if I've been manhandled in one way or the other?
Exactly. The laws are there. Like I told you, every action of a police officer or a police other rank that does not operate within the envelope of the rules and regulations provided by is said to be acting on his own. In fact, it's a popular saying in the police, OYO, you are on your own. So they know that when they operate outside that, they are culpable. And in one or two cases where they have not been so fortunate, they have gone through orderly room trial and they have been dealt with decisively. But the citizen of Federal Republic of Nigeria has the right to complain, either before a court of law or before a senior police officer, and can insist that certain violations of the rules of the engagement between Nigerian police and Nigerians have been breached, and there must be a punishment for it. So everyone has the right. These rights are not only statutory, they are fundamental. Because in most of the cases where the police go outside the rules and regulations, they must have done something that infringe upon your fundamental human rights. These are enforceable under the laws of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So let no citizen of this country believe that the police is above the law, or any other agency or any other officer of government is above the law. Where you have reason to believe that somebody has gone wrong, there must be remedy. In law, we say wherever there is a wrong, there must be remedy. It's just that Nigerians don't take things serious. But every citizen has a responsibility to do this kind of complaints and making sure that things are done correctly to help the country to move from where we are today to march towards what I have always referred to as the scale of a civilized standard.
Yeah, before we let you go, Senator, not to hold any brief for the police or the Nigerian police force, but we've had cases of, welfare issues among the police force and funding, although it is not really an excuse for them to, go all right when they work with the people who they are supposed to be protecting. But what has the Senate done as regards some reforms and enabling us to make sure that the welfare and funding of police is actually guaranteed?
Well, you see, it's not about the Senate. Senate and the National Assembly in general, what we do is we take proposal from the executive. It's the executive that has a policy of the kind of police that it wants to have for a country called the Federal Republic of Nigeria. What we do is to assist the public in saying that, yes, certain demands are justifiable in order to give Nigeria the kind of police that it requires. And therefore, we are willing to appropriate funds. And when you talk about welfare, it has to do with funds, to build barracks, to give them working tools and the rest. But I think it's entirely at the doorstep of the executive to determine the kind of policing that they have to give to Nigerians at this stage of our history as a nation.
I said that was the last question, but this is related. Can you just tell us, bring us up to speed as regards right now the call for state police? What exactly is happening at the Senate as regards that?
Well, the Senate just yesterday ended what they call a summit on looking at the security infrastructure of the country. Now, discussants at that meeting have given reasons that they believe are valid enough for the country to begin to reconsider the establishment of state police. Now, it has equally gone ahead the discussants have gone ahead to say the fears of Nigerians that the state police will be manipulated by governors does not hold water, in the sense that we should be able to put enough laws that will safeguard the interests of citizens of this country. Additionally, they have said funding as it relates by the state may hamper the ability of states to create state police. But some are of the opinion that, look, those states that have the resources and capacity to do so should be allowed to do so, so that the ones that are already federal, that are within those states, can now be deployed to other states that do not have the resources to establish their own, so that the entire country can be adequately policed. Now, in consideration of the aggregate of these arguments, the Senate is of the opinion that let the governors of the state come out with a resolution supporting the idea that they needed the state police at this stage. And then the Senate is more than willing to look at what constitutional provision that needs to be amended and what laws that needs to be put in place to be able to allow police to establish state police. That was the agreement yesterday, almost at the close of the summit. And we are hoping that in the next couple of days, the Nigerian Governors Forum and the chairman, who is the governor of Zamfara State, should be able to report back to the Senate what the end discussion is about the establishment of state police. And it is from there that the Senate intends to start the process based on popular demand.
I want to say many thanks to Senator Balana Allah, who is the Deputy Minority Leader at the Upper Legislative Chamber. Many thanks for being a part of Galaxy today. We do appreciate it.
Minority Leader, I am the Deputy Senate Leader because my party is in government. So I'm a Deputy Majority Leader, but we are most referred to as the Deputy Senate Leader.
All right, I'm sorry, I apologize for that oversight. And many thanks for being a part of Galaxy today.
Thank you. I am not complaining. I'm not complaining. I'm only establishing the position of my party as the ruling party as at today, and it will be for a very long time to come.
Let's begin to talk politics on the show. We do appreciate this. Many thanks for being a part of the show.
Thank you.
We have our security expert, which you want to introduce.
Exactly. We have, well, funny enough, the name is so familiar to me. It's like a name I hear every day. We have in the house, Okechukwu Nwaguma, National Coordinator, Network and Police Reforms in Nigeria, otherwise known as NOPRAIN. Good morning, sir. Welcome.
Good morning. My pleasure to be here again.
Today. Okay, so we're looking at police brutality, more like the impunity. I mean, looking at the case of the driver that was mistakenly killed in Benin City because of 100 naira. And we've seen cases like that that might not lead to death, but some people are being imprisoned, and I've read up some things early this morning, and I've heard cases where people say that even the police sometimes make them write statements that is false, make them sign false statements just to make see them as guilty or victims. Now, you work and harm the police. What can you say about this?
Well, first of all, it is unfortunate that this happened and that a man has to lose his life because of 100 naira. Edo State is particularly, the police in Edo are particularly notorious for police brutality. And I say this because, you know, as an organization, we engage the police every day. We engage issues of police brutality. We receive complaints, so much so that we had to go to Benin, you know, and do a 3-day fact finding, you know, because of numerous cases that were. You remember in this Edo that we had the same Sige police station, tied a man to a police van and dragged him, you know. And you know, I hope you remember that case. Yes, I do. You also remember the case of a university professor, Teboma, who was also brutalized by the same police in Edo, and so on and so on and so forth. Recently, a court in Edo State gave a judgment declaring the action of the police in killing 4 men some years back, about 3 or 4 years ago. You know, we call them the Ute 4. They were killed in a place called Ute. Okay. These were actually farmers. You know, so police killed them, shot them, and labeled them armed robbers, contrary to evidence. So, and we pursued that case and called for a proper investigation. The police refused to investigate until, you know, we got the court to order autopsy, and then based on the evidence, the court just a few days ago ruled that those men were not armed robbers and that the action of the police was unlawful. So I'm saying this to background, you know, that the police in Edo are particularly notorious.
But okay, fine. You just established something here right now that the police in Edo are notorious when it comes to brutality and impunity. But since this has been in the public eye and all of that, particularly you pointed at the particular police station there. Yeah. So since this is everywhere, it is glaring. I mean, what can we do? Is there a way that the police station can be shut if they are actually shut down completely? If they are really notorious? I mean, because the fact is that it's not the first time, it's not the second time it's been happening now. So what do you really do?
You know, the problems of the police have remained unsolved. You know, since 1999, when Nigeria returned to democracy after nearly 17 years of military rule, there have been public demand for police reform. Now we see more of mantra than concrete action. The government is not prepared to go, far in implementing far-reaching reforms. In terms of leadership, look at even the appointment procedure in the police. Look at the type of leadership we have in the police. The IG went to Benue and see what he went there to do. I mean, the whole thing has to do with both the structure of the police, leadership, funding, and morale. By the way, you know that certain checkpoints have been banned.
Yeah, we still have them
over the years. Yes. Now, what were those men? What were those officers doing on the road?
Okay,
and because this man couldn't afford 100 naira, and they pushed this man, and the man died. And because nobody is going to be held to account, you can see the argument of, although the commissioner of police has gone to visit the family, which for me was a good move, but how far will they go to ensure, one, that the perpetrators are brought to account and that the victims are compensated adequately, to show the public that indeed this is not part of the police.
Okay, now, but buttressing the point, it looks like, or there's a rumor, there are speculations that these police who actually stay at checkpoints to collect 100 naira do this a directives from their bosses.
The command, the DPO.
Is a command here, and then they have a particular amount they must deliver. And so people feel that they work with so much brutality because they know they have the backup of their bosses.
Yes.
Okay, now, with that knowledge, we don't know how true it is. As a citizen, how am I so sure of my security? And how do I go about my security if I know that those whom we think are to help in security are actually those who are threats to us? I mean, I've had cases of those who have been raped and robbed by policemen. What do we do as citizens?
Yeah, I told you that in my opening comments that we did an investigation in Edo State.
Yeah.
And what you just described, the fact that police officers are sent by the authorities to go and do this was what we found, because we spoke to victims, we spoke to police officers. In fact, let me tell you, the DPO in Edo, the CP in Edo before now, the previous CCP, had a very notorious record. DPOs told us that they were always under pressure from the CP to make returns. So they now send their men. So, and this also goes to the whole issue of funding. While not justifying this, but I think that the fact that the police, especially at the lower levels, are not properly funded, if at all, makes them to look for other means to raise money and sending police officers to the streets to do the things that result to this type of thing we're discussing is one of it. And so, but of course, you've also found out that in a place like Lagos State, this is not predominant for two reasons. One, because of the type of commissioner of police you have. A commissioner of police who has a vision, who knows what he has set out to do, but also again because there is a Lagos State Security Trust Fund which provides funding and support to the police. And so you find out that although here and there you find instances of abuse, but not to the extent that we find in Benin. And the commissioner of police in Lagos State does not tolerate abuse. Bring any complaint to him and you see how we deal with it.
All right, okay, we'll come back to you. I understand that Comrade Titi Lola Shodo rather is standing by. He is a social commentator. Can we go to Ibadan? Okay, while this is going on, we'll take a break. We'll be right back. Join us again. We'll take a little bit of a break. Stay with us.
A lot is happening around the world today, from UK's historic exit from the European Union to Donald Trump's presidency that is putting America and its interests first.
From this day forward, it's going to be only America first.
There's also the emergence of a new generation of leaders from Luxembourg, Canada, Ireland, to the election of 39-year-old Emmanuel Macron in France. The world is changing, but to what extent will this change affect Nigeria and the African continent?
The question people are asking is why do we want to allow an outsider that has not strengthened his own backyard? Is it because of economic interest?
That's the question we answer here on Global Arena as we bring to you in-depth analysis of global issues and how they affect us, highlighting the continent's interest in international affairs.
This morning, our guy dey drive the car. As they drive the car, police stop am. Say make he bring money come. The guy say never get. So through dragging, now the guy say okay, no wahala. You take the 100 naira. Already the policeman don dey annoying as a vex. You understand? As straight out the corner, I push the boy. And the money they handle 150 naira too. He push am. As the young boy say the motor just dey pass his head. Just imagine because of 100 naira. 100 naira, you keep person want to do marriage for next week.
So in the beg them with the money, saying not work, take their 50 naira, they not agree. He begged them with 1,000, he not agree. So the next thing, they collect in king. Then they run after them, give them this thing. Now the policeman push them. Now in fall, the oncoming trailer, one Dangote motor, is matcha. That is all. And now, when this protest is going on, police came doing other things. Even they shot one at Bottom. Another one now have been recorded as. Now they shot one electrician at his.
All right, welcome back. It's still Galaxy today. We apologize for that slight hitch. We are joining our studios in Ibadan. We have our comrade Titilola Asodo, a social commentator, standing by. Many thanks for joining us on Galaxy today. We're looking at police brutality. I really want to get your quick opinion. A whole lot of Nigerians feel that the police, the average policeman, is above the law. Whatever they say, you better do what they say so you don't get yourself killed. Is this how we should live as Nigerians?
Thank you. Good morning. As Nigerians, of course, that's not how it should be. The police in Nigeria has a long history of brutality, starting from, as far as I can recollect, even from the 70s. But at that time, it was largely the higher institutions, the students who were the major victims. But recently, it's like their poor situation of service has affected things to the extent that there is what I can describe as recklessness. It's gone beyond just even impunity to recklessness. They find for flimsy reasons, people get shot, killed, and labeled as armed robbers or whatever criminals. It's so unfortunate that Nigeria shouldn't be in that kind of situation. The police should be guided. They should. I know they have rules of engagement. They should be properly trained how to interact with the public. We understand their situation. Virtually all workers in Nigeria, and especially the police, they are poorly funded. These people are poorly paid. They are not motivated in any ways, and they have a lot of risks involved with their job. But I suspect that the frustration of the job is now getting to them, particularly the lower level officers who patrol the roads. The frustration of the job, I suspect, is now getting to them to the extent that they now take laws.
All right, we'll try and reconnect with Ibadan in a bit. And so far, we still have messages coming in, and Okenwagu is still here in Lagos. Before we talk to let us take one or two feedback here. Okay, it is also rampant in Lag. It is everywhere. You see them collecting money with fraud. It happens most in the night. We are tired of it. So please, if you are sending us an SMS, please be sure to indicate what your location exactly, so we can actually relate with you as from a particular location, so we can know how and the incident rates at those areas. Please, we must do something for this particular issue, even in. Oh my God, I have to try and pronounce this, but I'll leave the first part of the Yoruba name and take Mowe. Said somewhere in Mowe, Ogun State. That is how the police are collecting money. Please, we need to do something. Most of the policemen are licensed, say they're licensed armed robbers. Most times they do anything to get money from you. May God help us. That one was from Ola in Abuja. Nothing to write, or the police is nothing to write home about. They all have black minds covered by uniform. So Nigeria police does not protect Nigerians, but how much do they have a day to take home? You're still talking about them. You're trying to appropriate and reprobate at the same time. Okay, fine. Molesting people here and there is not ideal. Okay, if you want to reach out to us, just send us a message and don't call. Okay, the police force should sit up to their responsibility. Insecurity is everywhere. They should all be ashamed of themselves. Mrs. Ibrahim Khadijat from Auchi in Edo State. Let us continue with some here in Lagos. You've just seen comments from Nigerians.
I like the fact that people are beginning to open up and they're saying a whole lot. And like we earlier mentioned, that police are no longer, it's a mindset that they're no longer here to secure, but they are actually the threat around us. And I did ask a question before dinner. As a citizen, what do we do? Because we are basically our own government now. We provide our own water, provide our own light, in some cases your roads as well. So what do we do in regards to this? Who do we talk to? How do we handle this from the eye of the law?
So you see then that this is not just the problem. It's not just the problem of the police. The police that are themselves part of the, faulty society. They are also, in a sense, police are also victims of bad government. Because if, by the way, the operational head, the policy and operational head of the police is the president. The Inspector General of Police is appointed by the president and can be fired by the president. The president decides how much they give to the police. The amount of money appropriated for the police in an annual budget, only half of it ever gets to the first headquarters. And when it gets to the first headquarters, it's not even enough to deal with the numerous challenges, in terms of equipment. In fact, it can barely pay salaries. And of course, you know that the salaries of police officers have remained inadequate. And so morale is low. There's no police officer who wants to die for this country because there's nothing in it for them. So it's police themselves are both victims and the problem. They have been made to become the problem rather than become protectors. They have become predators. They prey on the citizens they're supposed to protect. And who do you blame? Now, police officers, they commit crimes because institutionally they understand the challenges, the things that predispose officers to this behavior. So they are reluctant to punish them. So internal control does not work. External accountability, the Police Service Commission, which has an obligation to ensure that every act of police abuse, police brutality is investigated and punished, it doesn't do that job because the man at the head is also a product of the same system. So it's a vicious cycle, and I think that we need to actually look into. Security, national security is something that needs to be holistically addressed, and the police has a role to play in it. And the federal government, they know what they're doing, which is why rather than fund the police, they keep on setting up new agencies, you know, here and there, states create their own agencies.
Are you saying it's a deliberate attempt on the part of federal government not to fund the police?
I mean, what don't they know? Is it that they do not prioritize the safety and security of the citizens, so as to devote sufficient funding and equipment to the police? When things happen, they deploy the military. I mean, so it looks like a deliberate, you know, strategy to sideline the police and, you know, leave them, you know, so for me, it falls back to political leadership. All
right, we'll come back to you, okay? Let us continue with you, brother. Comrade Sodo is still standing by, okay? From the comments we have here from viewers who are watching the feedback we're getting, they say Ibadan is part of where police do as they like. Specifically, this guy mentioned Liberty Road to Okado. You find 3 checkpoints and they collect 100 naira all the time. Let me just get the peculiarities in your state. How exactly is the situation like?
Thank you very much. The topic is police brutality, and I think Nigeria has a long history of police brutality, starting from, if I can recollect, from the 70s. But in those days, the ones that came to the news was police attacking students, killing students, you know, conducting peaceful demonstrations and what have you. But as the society degenerated, the police too, the institutions too degenerated, including the police. And because presently has already submitted, they are poorly paid, the organization is not funded, they are poorly equipped, they are poorly trained, and there is no insurance for them. All this, I think, have led to frustration in the men of the police force, and they are now releasing the frustration onto the society. In Ibadan here, of course, there are reported cases of police brutality, extrajudicial killings, and what have you. But this example of Liberty Road to Okado, I think that's far from the truth. As we speak, I've passed that road today. There is no police checkpoint on that road during the day, but I've seen them there maybe in the evening, going towards, you know, from say 5 p.m. to maybe 9, 10, and it's only one. It's only one, just a little bit further from Jogo Center. However, we've had cases right here. As we speak now, we are in challenge. We've had a case of an artisan who was arrested close to a joint or something and taken away and beaten to the point that the man was just released at the point of death, only for him to collapse in front of his house when they dumped him. And that was the end of the person. But we cannot just isolate the police brutality stroke impunity. It is a reflection of what is going on in the society. The largest group of people with impunity today are the herdsmen. They are more dangerous than even the police we are talking about, and no one is doing anything to check their excesses. In a society where you have that kind of situation, where you have so-called citizens, herdsmen, killing even the policemen, you see, the insecurity will lead to people forgetting about their various rules of engagement. And I believe that's part of the reasons for the present situation we have found ourselves. And the responsibility is that of the head of state, the president of Nigeria. It is this responsibility. It is that his administration. He sought for our votes and we gave him. We didn't put him there for him to give us excuses. Is to perform, is to ensure that there is security in this land, is to ensure that there is rule of law, is to ensure that there are no sacred cows. And it is only then that we can have institutions working properly, working as is the case in other countries of the world.
All right, as a follow-up to that particular question, with the present call for state security across board, do you really think if there's state police sees the light of day, it will actually make the police better effective, better equipped, and better funded, in your opinion?
Absolutely.
Better from them, in your opinion?
Absolutely. I believe it will be a step in the right direction. You see, sometimes even when you make complaints here, matters are taken over from the people on the ground, and directives are given either for them to discontinue matters and so on and so forth. But you have the state police responsible for maintaining peace and order in a particular jurisdiction, and responsible just to the so-called chief security officer of that state, that is the governor. Of course, there is bound to be higher efficiency, and therefore I believe that the state police should come into existence. It will check, it will lead to enhanced security of our land, and even the discipline of the force will be better enhanced, because they will be responsible to people who are closer here and not someone in a police division 600 kilometers away being directed by an IG who stays put in Abuja.
All right, we must say a very big thank you to Comrade Titilo Lasodo, a social commentator who joined us from Ibadan in Oyo State. Many thanks for being a part of Galaxy today.
Thank you so much. Okay, back to Lagos. I'd like to read out something here to Mr. Okechukwu. He said on April 11th, 2017, 2 notorious robbers were released by a just High Court in Plateau to continue their evil deeds because the Nigerian police, with their actions and inactions, demanded that these barbers be freed.
The police demanded that they be freed?
They be freed. So Justice Daniel, overwhelmed by the inefficiency of the police, was constrained by law to discharge Mustafa Mohammed and Amos Emmanuel, 2 armed robbers whose notoriety had earned one of their accomplices, Kenneth Okafor, jail terms in Bauchi State. So now that brings me to the question about the police and the law. I'm just going to come back to it. As a citizen, the fear is growing now. If the police cannot save us, if they cannot protect us, how are we sure the law can help?
Well, I mean, responding slightly to the scenario of 2 armed robbers, in courts and police, one of the challenges of criminal prosecution in Nigeria is that police are not well trained and well equipped to carry out, proper investigations. Mm-hmm. And when investigation is not proper, it's not well done, it's not, it's difficult for prosecution. Mm. And the judge is not going to rule based on, he's going to rule based on evidence. Mm. When there is no evidence, you find that even when, in his view, the person on trial, seems to be guilty, but without evidence to reach that conclusion. Mm. So it falls back to police prosecution. Police investigation, and this is one of the challenges we have. Issues of how many forensic labs do we have? Do we even have fingerprints? So these are basic challenges that affect effective administration of criminal justice in Nigeria. Okay. So unless that is solved, and you know that the police is the entry point into the criminal justice system.
But there is supposed to be a PCRC which should actually mediate between the police and, of course, the community, the resident of the state and all that. Is it like they don't really understand what they should do to better the relationship between the police force and the citizens they're supposed to be protecting?
You see, the original idea of the PCRC, that's police, community, public, PCRC, police relations, police public relations committee. The idea is to create a bridge between the police and community they serve, and this committee is supposed to be independent of the police. It should be, a forum, where police and citizens meet occasionally to discuss problems in the community and how the community can support the police. But you find that what happens is that many people today join PCRC because members of PCRC are given identity card which bears some emblems of the police. Okay. For them, that is the benefit, and they use it to harass fellow citizens, to intimidate. So they don't really play that role of providing a platform for police community interaction to also elicit support, community support, because without community support, the police cannot effectively discharge their, unless you understand the problems of the community, and the community understand the challenges that the police face in the discharge of their duties. And so this is the whole idea of peace, but that is not the way it operates, and that is why it doesn't seem to be working, helpful at the moment.
Okay, so I also want us to look at this from this angle. I mean, I feel that for every profession, there's room for training and retraining. I don't know if that happens at the police college. I mean, I see some of our policemen, and you can see how unfit they are. I've seen cases where maybe there's a riot somewhere, we're all running, and you see a police officer also running with you. You're like, are you not supposed to, So I'm wondering, when it comes to training, I don't know if there's physical training that makes them fit enough to be able to fight. Because I remember our days at the camp, we're made to go through the assault ground, and we're made to do some kind of drilling, So for the police, do they actually go through a retraining process?
I don't know whether you've actually visited any police training college or institution in Nigeria. And when you do that, I'm sure you get an answer to the question you're asking. Because when you visit a typical police training institution, it's just like a typical police barracks, where human beings are made to live like animals. In terms of facilities, there are no facilities in these training institutions. Who are the people training? What is even the content of the training curriculum? Although recently it was reviewed, but I don't know to what extent this new revised police training curriculum and manual have been used to train the police. But again, a lot of, before you even talk about training, have we talked about recruitment? Who are the people recruited into the police? The system is such that people who ordinarily ought not to find their way into the police easily find them. Some of them are not even trainable. Some of them are not trainable.
They will go through mental evaluation, psychological.
These things are circumvented. Before a person, the police is a very important institution. Before any individual finds his or her way into the police, there ought to be background check. You have to ask questions, from the community where the person, the environment where he lives, the traditional head of the community where he comes from, religious head, and people who know him. But who does this? The whole thing has been compromised by corruption and political interference. Making the police become, vulnerable, corruption, and so this is the challenge. The training. Which is supposed to be the first initial training before they are recruited. It's not well done, and then the retraining, periodic retraining to bring them up to date. I don't think it happens, and even if it happens, it's not properly.
Okay, and again, another question most people might really want to ask or are wondering right now is that the police, they're supposed to be enforcing the law and maintain law and order, but do they even understand the law? Do they even know what is inside the Constitution?
Do you know that there is, for instance, in Lagos, there is the Administration of Criminal Justice law.
Yes.
At the national level, there is Administration of Criminal Justice Act.
Yes.
In Lagos State, for instance, the Commissioner of Police was frank enough to tell us that part of the challenges is that police officers don't have access to these laws. So you find that the people who ought to enforce the law don't even understand the law. They don't even know the source. So it's a whole lot of challenges that like I said, takes us back to political will. Political will to make things work. The same way nothing works elsewhere. In other facets of life, the police themselves are also neglected.
Okay, so still looking at the police from the security angle, is there no age limit? I know that there's an age limit to service here, because I see some who are very old and wrinkled, expected to be probably retired. They're still on the road, serving as a security man.
First of all, there is, there are different levels of recruitment. Recruits, and then cadet inspector, cadet ASP. For each of these levels, there's age limit. But of course, if it is possible for somebody to get into the police with a forged certificate because for instance, you're required to present your O-level certificate for a recruit. A lot of people I know in the police have entered with forged certificates or certificates belonging to other people. And if the police are not able to detect this or ignore that, why would they be concerned about age? And that is why you find somebody who is too old to join the police, communicates with the police, you know. Sometimes they even manipulate their age, falsify their birth certificates. But this is not only in the police anyway. It's a general.
All right. Okay. Let's see if we can take more feedbacks now before we continue, because I can see a whole lot of Nigerians are actually interested in commenting on about this topic this morning. Let's see if we can take one or two for time. My name is Ekwo Godwin from Oshodi here in Lagos. My point is, police brutality is not as a result of poor salary, but wickedness in the sense many police were not properly screened and checked before enlisting. Nigerian police has turned to public professional beggars and tax collectors. It is really a shame to our nation. They are not friendly at all, rather they are hazardous to the community. Police are our friend. He's asking, why are they killing us, their own friends? Lawrence from Ikorodu. Good day. Our president is, I can't take that one. Nigeria police is not useful. They are suspected criminals. In fact, one says he hates them like hell. Good day. According to what they said, police is our friend, but why is it that they're taking laws into their own hands and killing Ibrahim Ishak? Please read mine. Okay, I'll read yours. Collins, you're from Malausa in Ikeja here in Lagos. These policemen are getting worse by the day. You see them in areas they are not supposed to be, illegal areas of duty. It is not just about finding the police. They need psychological help. They are not tolerant or patient, and government needs to do something about their aggression. My name is Rabi Manga from Suleja in Niger State. The situation of Niger Police Force is getting worse than before. The federal government has to take a stand and look into the police matters. I just had to paraphrase most of the things you wrote there. I said, you complain that police is not trained. When they go out, they perform. I don't understand that. Good morning, Galaxy TV. My name is Patricia from Edo State. I disagree that because they are not well paid, that's why they just kill innocent people. They could have just gone out and protest, to the president about their pay. Hello, my name is Afosa John. The police in Benin are collecting money with force from drivers, and even they do a lot of evil things in the city. Right. This one says, boss. This country is getting worse at Agri. That should be somewhere in Lagos. Ojo, Marotu Badagry Expressway. Every day, police used to collect money from Marua and buses. Look at what happened yesterday at Agege. A policeman. I'm trying to understand what you're saying, but I cannot really read that. The Senate should also review the Police Act, especially in the area of too many segments in the police, SARS and others. This one is from John Nooks. That's as much as we can take. Okay, let's just get your last word now. So we've talked about the place of training, the place of welfare, but then again, those police, when they commit these crimes, who makes sure that they pay for them?
Like I said, there are internal control systems, internal disciplinary procedures. Yes. For instance, for certain levels, there's what they call all-living trial. Okay. I mean, the Commissioner of Police in Lagos State has demonstrated that it is indeed possible to deter police abuse, because he has has dealt with a number of cases brought to his attention. But beyond the internal control systems, which don't work efficiently, there is also the Police Service Commission, which is the external accountability mechanism set up to address, among other things, issues of discipline. We also have the National Human Rights Commission, which can also take complaints of police abuse and deal with them. So citizens should feel free to, you know, send petitions to NGOs like Non-Operating. You know, send petitions to come. If it's Lagos State, I'm sure that if you send a petition to the Commissioner of Police, you're going to get results. The Police Service Commission for whatever it is worth, and then the National Human Rights Commission. But of course, beyond this, all this will simply be scratching on the surface, addressing the symptoms. The problem lies with, you know, genuine police reform. People have talked about state police, and the reason is that the Nigerian police is too big to, you know, Nigeria is too big a country to be policed by a one-size-fits-all police. The IG cannot, you know what is happening in Benin, in Lagos, all the way from Abuja. Policing is a local thing, and that is why everybody is tending to us. And if you look at it, you find that many states keep creating state-based law enforcement agencies, which is the tendency towards state. So I think we should allow that for states that can fund it, should be allowed to do that. That is what policing is all about.
That's the way to go.
Use local.
Okay, thank you so much, sir, for coming. We do appreciate. I want to extend our thanks to Comrade Tito Lolasodo, social commentator from Ibadan in Oyo State, and of course to Senator Bala Naala, Senator Deputy Majority Leader from Abuja, and of course to Okechukwu Nwaguma, National Coordinator, Network on Police Reforms in Nigeria. Thank you so much. So I said thank you to Justin as well, maybe.
And
thank you to you.
Yes, thank you to all of you who have sent in feedbacks, who have shared their experiences in the hands of Nigerian police. But they are making us believe that the police is our friend. Let us just hope that with the right reforms and with the right, platforms would get some better protection to our lives and of course our property in Nigeria. My name is Justin Akademi. Many thanks for being a part of the show. Join us tomorrow. We'll be looking at Valentine's Day. It promises to be very exciting.